Hello, today's video is a very thorough foundation review and wear test of the new Estee Lauder Double Wear Sheer Longwear Makeup. I've been testing this out for days and days using different application methods with different primers, without a primer, so I could give you my perspective as to how this applies and wears best, as well as what skin types I feel this works best for. I'm going to be showing you several days of application, wear, and at the end we're going to talk about whether it lives up to any or all of its claims. I love doing foundation reviews this time of year because I live in New Orleans. It is hot and humid most of the year, but this is the hottest, most humid time of the year, so I can really put foundations through the ringer, especially ones that claim to be long wearing. I have some questions about this foundation. I know a lot of you do too. What is its purpose? It's been out for a few weeks, but it just showed up on Estee Lauder's Instagram like 3 days ago. I found that a little bit odd. I was wondering if it was supposed to be a hybrid between Estee Lauder Double Wear Nude, which has been discontinued for a little while, and the newly discontinued Estee Lauder Double Wear Light. Now, I did see someone ask a question underneath one of their Instagram posts, wondering what they recommended as a substitute for Double Wear Light now that it's gone, and they recommended Estee Lauder Futurist, which I do recommend in my Skin-Like Foundations video. I'll have that video linked up in the corner as well as in my description box down below, along with everything I'm wearing and all the products I show in this video. But they didn't recommend this, which makes sense now that I've tried it out. I would just like to know why Estee Lauder keeps changing their foundation lineup so much. Maybe I'm hard on foundations that come out in the Double Wear line. The original Double Wear foundation has iconic status for a reason. I know it can be a little difficult for people to work with at first. I do have a couple of videos on that. My original, I redid, I updated it. I'll have that linked too. It's helped so many people apply it naturally and beautifully, but it has the name Double Wear for a reason. It's not because it looks heavy and cakey, it's because it is bulletproof. It wears all day long. And I feel to be a part of the Double Wear line, I mean, you have a lot to live up to. Now, a lot of us loved the original formulation of Estee Lauder Double Wear Light. That was one of my holy grail natural everyday foundations until they reformulated it in 2018. That was such a disappointment. Of course, that's what's being discontinued now. They tried launching Double Wear Nude in 2017 and that's been discontinued. I'm guessing that didn't go over well. So because I have done about 6, maybe 7 other dedicated Estee Lauder Double Wear foundation reviews, I figured, I mean, why stop now? Estee Lauder Double Wear Sheer retails for $43 for 1 ounce. There are 26 shades. I am in shade 2W1 Dawn, which is my normal Estee Lauder Double Wear shade. You will see that here on my skin several times here in a minute. So what are the claims that we're going to talk about at the end of the video, besides, you know, being long wearing? It's supposed to give you fresh, healthy looking skin with a sheer matte, undetectable appearance. It claims to be sweat and humidity resistant and control shine for up to 12 hours without creasing or accentuating the pores. It's supposed to feel weightless, not streak or cake, and be great for all skin types. It offers anti-pollution protection. It's alcohol-free, fragrance-free, and oil-free, and isn't supposed to clog pores or cause breakouts. And it offers broad-spectrum SPF 19. I mean, come on, I don't even know why they bothered. The SPF is octinoxate 2% and titanium dioxide 2.3, so you have a mixture of chemical and physical. So I tried it out for more days than the clips that I'm going to show you. I just feel like these are a pretty good representation of what I experienced. Then I'm going to go into my full summary of what I thought, whether it lived up to the claims, and who I think it's best for. I finished filming and realized I didn't give you my skin type, so I am inserting that here. I am 46 years old. I have oily combination skin, but I do have surface dehydration and dryness. So it can be a balancing act for me to find the right products that don't accentuate dryness, but that control the shine. I do like sheer to light coverage foundations. I wear them on the daily. One of the reasons why I was intrigued by this one is because it's supposed to be sheer yet matte. So let's go ahead and get into the first wear day that I'm showing you. This is the very first day I ever tried it. I always love a travel-friendly, lightweight squeeze bottle, so I love the packaging right off the bat. The consistency is very watery, very thin. You do need to shake it before you dispense it. Even though it's fragrance-free, I noticed a slight scent to it just from the ingredients that are in the product. They don't add any additional fragrance. I did try it with my no-fail primer that I'm trying not to talk about just because I'm really irritated with the brand. I'll have it listed down below. In the description box, I will list my typical primer primers and powders that I always do my foundation tests with because they're very reliable and I like to use the same products when I'm doing tests to have consistency and because they work for me. So check the description box for those. I wore it around 9 hours total on this day. On your left side, I'm using a slightly damp sponge to apply. It's going on very easily, giving very sheer coverage, and I think it looks nice. I mean, it's doing what it's supposed to do and just giving a slight evening out of the skin. Remember, this is a sheer to light coverage foundation. On the right side, I decided to test it out with a brush, and wow, I did not like it at all. It emphasized the texture, the pores. I had some dry sections that were really emphasized. So I decided to switch over to a sponge, and it helped recover it a little bit, but not great. So once everything was said and done, I felt like, my makeup looked pretty, but I wasn't totally blown away. I couldn't really put my finger on why. It just didn't seem to maybe mesh totally with my skin. I thought maybe it was the primer, but sometimes things look better as the day goes on. So around 6 hours, I started looking pretty shiny and kind of rough, especially on that side where I tried the brush. I feel like it's not super visible on camera until I blotted that shine away. So I blotted very lightly with a tissue and it did transfer onto the tissue. I did lose some coverage on my nose and in areas where it was already kind of wearing away. Now I'm using my iPhone for a lot of these check-ins. I'm hoping you can see that it has worn away in spots on my cheeks, the sides of my chin, around my nose, also my forehead, which you can't really see on camera. I tried so many times to capture that, but you just couldn't really see it. And in these close-up photos, I feel like you can really tell. I've got polka dot pores from where it pooled in my pores. It's just kind of sitting on top of my skin. I tested Estee Lauder Double Wear Sheer several times without a primer with different methods just to see if it would really mesh with my skin. I wanted to show you this day in particular because I used a dry sponge on the left side. Spoiler alert, this is my favorite method for applying this foundation. I feel like it evens out my skin a little bit more than a damp sponge does, and it still just applies everything very, very quickly. So on your right side, I use my fingers, and I think that this is much better than with a brush, but it takes longer and gives less coverage than when using a dry sponge. I also found I couldn't get the coverage to look right on the sides of my nose when I use my fingers. I have no idea why. I'm able to kind of remedy it with a dry sponge, but it doesn't look quite as good as the side where I started and finished with the dry sponge. I'm not super happy with it without a primer around the tip and sides of nose. And here's what it looks like after setting it and applying my makeup. And this is 8 hours later. There's a lot of shine going on with this foundation when I wear it with no primer. However, it doesn't settle into my creases in my forehead, which can happen a lot if I don't wear a primer with certain types of foundations. My pores are accentuated. It definitely doesn't blur my pores. It blotted okay. I don't think I lost a ton of coverage. It does transfer onto a Kleenex. I did touch up with powder after I blotted and I felt like it looked decent. So after messing around with this for a little bit, I figured out that this can emphasize texture and dryness if I'm not careful. So before this next wear day, I exfoliated super well manually. I got rid of any peach fuzz on my face. I did a moisturizing mask at night. I just really prepped the skin really nicely so that everything was super smooth. I'm using one of my favorite hydrating primers on this day that works really well, reliably, to help makeup last all day. On the left side, I used my fingers and I think it worked pretty well. On the right side, I used a dry sponge. I did add a little bit more on each side just to see if I could build it up and even out the skin a little bit more. I was much happier with the way my skin looked with this foundation after all the skin prep, both before and after applying my makeup. At 8 hours, it's still not gathering into my fine lines, which is great, but it looks shiny still. It just kind of looks like it's sitting on my skin in certain areas. It's just not looking like a long-wearing foundation should, not like most of my other long-wearing foundations do. I blotted lightly with a tissue again and lost coverage on both the sides of my nose and near my mouth. I did try these same methods with no primer and I got the same results. So this didn't have anything to do with the primer I used that day. I also used different hydrating primers, same thing. So now you're seeing a day, when my skin has been prepped, it's really smooth with a smoothing primer just to help out with those pores that can be emphasized later. I'm pretty much using just a dry sponge now because that's just my favorite way to apply this foundation. This is me on my iPhone in my car about an hour after I applied it. I think it looks good. This next clip is about 3.5 hours later. I had had a mask on for around 40 minutes earlier in the day. My intent here was to show you something that kind of bothered me that I was just able to pinpoint that day. It's where I get shine kind of by those marionette lines on your face. It's just not really flattering. I should have used the front camera to show you the nose transfer that I got from the mask, but I feel like you can still see that my nose is pink from my fuzzy front-facing camera. I am upgrading my iPhone in the fall when the new one comes out, so be on the lookout for that. You can see here at 10 hours that it's pretty much gone from a lot of areas where that mask had been. It just got worse as the day went on. And I don't know if you noticed on any of those clips, but at the end of the day check-ins, I would get little bumps on my face just in sporadic areas, which I'll talk about here in a second. So keep in mind, a lot of things come into factors when you're testing out foundations, primers, concealers, face products, the skincare you use, how you prep your skin, other makeup that you wear and set your makeup with, the climate that you live in, and your skin chemistry. All that comes into play. Let's look at the claims. Does this provide sheer to light coverage? Yes, it does. Does it feel lightweight, weightless on the skin? Yes, it does. When it's first applied, I wanted to kind of wash my face as the day went on, and part of that is because of all of the shine and the oil breakthrough, which leads me to, does it have a matte, undetectable, shine-free finish? Not for me. I find that it does not stay matte very long on my face, no matter what I try it with, how I prep my skin. I also find that it's not really undetectable. There were some things I didn't point out because I just kind of wanted to talk about it here in the summary. On me, it accentuates any dry flakes that I have, any texture. And while I think it looks nice at the start of the day, by the end of the day, there's just some things that don't look so good. It kind of looks like it is apparent on the skin. It's supposed to not accentuate the pores. I typically do not have issues with the pores and issues around my nose and mouth area. I just don't. I just found that my pores looked pretty evident, and there were times when it actually pulled in my pores and gave me those polka dot pores. I was just really surprised by that. Is it crease free? Yes, I found that it did not gather in my creases, which is good. I have not been breaking out from anything, and wearing this consistently gave me little bumps, and I'm thinking it might be the chemical sunscreen. I personally have issues with a lot of chemical sunscreens. I definitely do not get 12-hour wear, at least not on my skin type in my climate. The reviews seem to be pretty mixed on this. I'm seeing some good. I'm seeing some, people that are also having some issues with things being accentuated. I think this is going to be a very personal foundation for people. Who do I think this is good for? I think if you like sheer to light foundations, if you have normal skin with no visible deep pores, skin that doesn't have a lot of texture, a lot of dryness, and skin that doesn't get very oily, I think that this could work for you. If I had skin that I had when I was 20, 30, this might really work for me. It's just not the one for me at 46 years old. Part of the reason why I tried this out so extensively is because I felt like I was being too hard on it. Like I was being too picky, but I had two friends that knew I was trying out something, but they didn't know what it was, make comments about how they have loved my skin so much when I've tried out certain foundations. They always want to know what it is. And both of them said they just weren't really impressed with how my skin looked while I was trying this out. So I felt a little bit validated in being hard on this. I know everyone's different. You may love this. This may be a great foundation for you. It just was not the one for me. I do, however, have some great alternatives for skin-light foundations, sheer foundations, skin tints, tinted moisturizers, BB creams. I'll link both of those videos here so that you can check out some other options if you're looking for those. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, I would love it if you would give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.